Data wants to bend. Kalar takes command of the Tong, and Worf does some wrist sniffing. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the seventh rule with Cirroc Lofton. My name is Ryan
Hello.
T. Husk, and today we're doing a review of Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 2, Episode 20, The Emissary, television story by Richard Manning and Hans Beimler, teleplay by Richard Manning and Hans Beimler, based on an unpublished story by Thomas H. Calder, directed by Cliff Bole. There's a lot to say there. This was June 24th, 1989. Where were you? What's up, Cirroc? We got to act serious now.
That's a mouthful right there.
Everybody at home, we were having our laughs ahead of time, and it seems like they might have carried on into the recording. This is an episode that is sponsored by our very good friend War Dogheim, aka Bill Erikson, out in Montana, one of our favorite buddies out in the blue skies of Montana. Thank you very much for sponsoring this one, Bill.
Yeah, we salute.
How are you, Cirroc?
I'm good. I'm doing good. Yeah, this is not what I thought when I heard the episode titled "The Emissary." I'm like, oh, this is gonna be something.
It's true. I thought I was going to come out the gate and be like, Deep Space Nine, episode 20, The Emissary, but no, it's Next Generation.
Next Generation episode, and they decided to give Worf a little bit of love interest. I like the woman that they cast for this role. I thought she was strong and assertive and had the right balance of human and Klingon. I thought mixed in her performance and in the way she carried herself in the episode. I liked her performance.
Mm-hmm. Lot to talk about there. But before we do that, everybody at home, please make sure you are liking this video. You're subscribed to the channel. If you're listening in, please give us a 5-star rating and a nice review. If you are watching this on YouTube and you want to know where you can find us for an audio podcast, just go to the seventh rule, wherever you find your podcasts. Check that out. And you can also go to patreon.com/the seventh rule to get all of this quality content and support this radical show. Anyway, so thank you very much, everybody. We appreciate y'all. Show can't happen without you. That's Susie Plaxen. And she was also the actress that played Dr. Salar. Remember the Vulcan doctor that went down on the away mission maybe 10 or 15 episodes ago?
Yeah.
She was just in that one episode. They never used her again. The story goes, I don't remember who told us this exactly, but the story goes that they were planning on using Dr. Salar more often. Susie Plaxen as Dr. Salar, this Vulcan doctor, planning on using her more often. And she was going to be originally a love interest for Worf. They were, eventually they were just going to keep reusing her and she was going to end up becoming a love interest for Worf. So I think it's really funny and coincidental that they nixed that character, but then they introduced Kalar, who is a love interest for Worf, but is played by the same actress. So they're like, we don't care what the character is. We just want this actress to be Michael Dorn's love interest, or maybe he wanted that. I don't know.
That's funny. That reminds me of the Lower Decks episode we just reviewed, where Rutherford is like, seriously, he looks exactly like Tom Paris. When totally. They were referring to Nick Locarno, right? So this is kind of one of those Nick Locarno, Tom Paris moments. The character comes back, the exact same person.
Yeah, so here is Dr. Salar. There she is. You'll remember her.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a shame that...
I kind of liked her as Salar, too.
I know, it really is a shame they didn't keep Dr. Salar. I found myself thinking that is a perfect recurring character, a secondary doctor, right? Because there are medical episodes, and Pulaski needs another medical professional to bounce these thoughts or discussions or arguments off of other than a captain or an engineer or a Klingon. It'd be great to have a recurring medical professional. And I thought it would have been a great character. And I don't know why they didn't end up keeping her or what happened there, but I would have loved to see a dozen episodes with Dr. Salar, honestly.
Yeah, another kind of reminder here, flashback, not to keep bringing up Lower Decks for those of you that haven't watched it, but they just recently added a Vulcan character in Tallinn on that show. And the presence of a Vulcan on a show, I believe, gives you an entryway to a certain kind of humor, a certain kind of seriousness that they bring. It's good for drama, and actually turns out to be good for comedy as well. But I think it's actually really good for drama, and I like the way Susie Plaxen played that um, that Vulcan character. Also, did a very similar job with this particular portrayal too, as well. This Kalar, I thought she was fantastic. I thought she held
Mhm.
her own. She gave Worf the perfect match of his energy. Like she whatever he brought, she brought more of it to the table. Um, I just, a little bit not sold on the badass aspect of her when in that little cave fighting scene. It wasn't the best sold. It didn't sell me on the choreography as much.
Yeah, Star Trek's known to look, they have 1 week to shoot something. And so that doesn't give a lot of time, one would think, for stunt choreography. I mean, stunt coordinators and stunt people would love to have an entire day or two
Mhm.
to work out, fight scenes and stunt choreography. But yeah, I thought the same. I loved the aliens that she fought. I thought that was really cool. There was like a buggy armadillo turtle guy. Um, what were
Yeah,
the
she
other?
fought Skeletor from He-Man. She's fought a
Yes.
Ninja Turtle
Yeah. Yeah.
and like a giant tribble or something. It was
Oh
kind of,
yeah, yeah.
but we didn't
The Wookiee
the
or the guy. Yeah.
Ewok. Yeah, she fought an Ewok, a Ninja Turtle, and and Skeletor. But didn't we see these before in another episode? I kind of swore I saw that a Skeletor looking
The Skeletor guy, absolutely. We've already seen him one. It's a snorting
guy.
Skeletor too, which is weird.
Yeah.
We saw him at least once or twice already in TNG. We've definitely seen him in Deep
Yes.
Space Nine as well. I think it's just one of their standard, battle aliens. I feel like we may
Yeah.
have seen the Wookiee Ewok guy, the feathered Bigfoot guy. I'm like,
Yeah.
those feathers are not. It's gonna be hard for you to hide in the jungle if you got feathers sticking out everywhere. Yeah, feathered Bigfoot.
Yeah.
But we've definitely seen those two,
The Ninja
especially
Turtle
the
too.
skull face
I'm pretty
guy.
sure we've seen it. The Ninja Turtle
Probably.
guy too. Yeah.
Mhm.
No, they just recycled these outfits. Maybe it's just hologram aliens to fight program
Mhm.
that they just upload whenever they need to. So it's the same, aliens. But they did look familiar, and it's funny because I'd never seen anybody
I
cosplay
was
the
just
Skeletor.
gonna say that would
Yeah.
be the best cosplay is
Right.
somebody playing one of those because that's such a deep cut where people would be
Right.
like, "Wait a minute, how do I know what is this? What are you?" And
Yeah, how is
and
that Star Trek? And it's like because it's Skeletor looking. It doesn't look that Star Trek when you see it to me. That's one of the things that makes it stand out,
yeah,
actually, because it doesn't appear to be that Star Trek. It feels like it's more He-Man-y or something, different category.
somebody's got to cosplay that. That would be amazing because it would be such a deep cut that there'd be some Star Trek fans that would recognize it. They would definitely be like,
Yeah.
"Wait a minute, I know what that is. I've seen it in like 8 Hollow Simulator episodes." You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a deep cut. Very deep cut. I like it. But no, I mean, the episode started off with the poker game. And, that's a theme that I think we said Melinda brought in, Snodgrass, if I'm not mistaken, was the poker element to this show.
That's right.
And so now we're seeing that element, being revisited and used as a tool to really set us up in the storyline of Worf and this episode when he talks about Klingons never bluffing.
Yeah.
And so I felt like that essentially that was a kind of a theme for the rest of the episode, whether he was bluffing with the woman that he, was having this relationship with, and not bluffing. He wasn't bluffing in that case. And then the eventual bluff of the Klingon ship that they ran into at the end when he pretends to be having taken over the Enterprise and whatnot. So
Hmm.
I like the way that they use the Klingons never bluff intro with the cards and the poker to really set us up for the storyline that they were going to keep, using that as a baseline.
Yeah, that's a really good point. They're getting better at having the little opening slice of life thing relate to the episode. Because remember, we've seen it a few times where they have this slice of life thing where they're, Captain Picard's going, "Oh, look at the orbit of this planet around the," and it's got nothing to do with the episode. It's just
Yeah,
totally like they just dropped it
yeah,
right in. But this one did. And
yeah.
there were a couple things there. Number one is, if it is in fact true that Klingons never bluff, they'd be terrible poker players, especially if they make it known. Now, that could be a bluff. Who knows? Maybe he's playing 3D chess and he's got mind control. But as soon as he said we never bluff, I'd be like, oh, cool, let's play again then. This will be great. But the other thought was that poker scene felt like that opening sequence was longer than they usually are for those opening kind of scenes. It dragged on longer and longer. And I actually was really happy about that because I was like, I'm enjoying seeing this banter, seeing how this plays out. And it really felt like I feel like nowadays they would cut that so fast. They would cut it in half. They'd just be like, get to the point. But it really dragged on. And I was happy about that because I'm like, I like to see, these characters, especially Dr. Pulaski, that, we don't see a ton of throughout the series, obviously. And so it's nice to see a little bit of her personality in there.
Mhm.
There's no Troy. There's no Guinan in there. It's just kind of Pulaski and the bros. And I really liked that scene. I was glad that they incorporated it. And the first thing I thought, yeah, was Melinda Snodgrass. There she is, leaving her imprint on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. And um, I did like that opening, and I did like the whole watching Data dealing, for example, and calling the next game, which is a 7 card stud kind of game. Um, just those little things. I wanted to see how Data would deal. Like how he actually moved the cards around. It's kind of a art form to just dealing cards in itself. So I wanted to see how he dealt the cards. And watching his comfort zone with shuffling and dealing was very fun to watch. The kind of interchange between them, it makes you feel a slice of life not associated with their mission, duty, and their responsibilities.
Hmm.
As part of Starfleet, it's just like this is them kind of kickback mo with sandals on at the beach, just being themselves with a beer or something. This is their fun mode, and I like to see that kind of the exchanges between them when they're not in this serious kind of like all hands on deck type of mode. So I
Cirroc,
did like it.
you seem
Yeah,
like a poker player. Do you play poker?
I do play poker.
Yeah.
That's why I get a lot of joy out of it. Yeah, I play poker. I play Texas Hold'em, which is a no limit game. Um, and the game that they were playing was a 7 card stud, which is a little bit different because you have 2 cards face down, 4 cards face up, and then the last card face down. So you have 3 down and 4 up. And then people have to guess what hand you can make out of your cards because you have 4 exposed and
Hmm.
3 down. That was the second game that Data decided to play, which was Seven Card Stud. That was when he switched the game up. But prior to that, they were playing, I think, Five Card Draw, and that's where Worf showed that he had a full house with aces over queens.
Yeah, the only real poker I would ever play was with Halloween candy when I was a kid. We would play, and we would bet candy. And so we'd ante up with like some shit candy, like the orange and black wrapped ones, or some kind of candy that whatever. That's the ante, and then we would just bet with the biggest bet would be like a candy bar, and then so you kind of figure like the hierarchy of candies, like some of the big ones would be like worth 5 of these whatever others.
Yeah.
That was always a fun thing, and I bluffed like it. All I did was bluff because I'm not a Klingon.
Well, and that goes back to your point about Worf saying Klingons never bluff. If you never bluff, you will not be that good in poker. You have to bluff. That's the whole point. You have to bluff. That's how you get good. Because otherwise, everybody knows they know you have a good hand when you have a good hand. And they know you have a bad hand when you have a bad hand.
Than not bluffing is them knowing that you never bluff. Because once they know you never bluff,
yeah. But I think he's just made that up because that's what I thought was clever about the story. Towards the end, he does do a bluff. He came up with the idea, which he shot out to Picard about, hey, let's make it look like the Klingons won the war and we're running the Federation. It was a beautiful bluff. It was a beautiful play. And he was bluffing with the other guy that he was looking across, like, I'm going to destroy you. It was great.
He very much bluffed that guy hard. And I will submit, Kalar also bluffed, not just in that instance, but when she acted like their mating meant nothing. Remember, she admitted when she was leaving, she's like, actually, it did mean something, you big lug. So she was bluffing too with Worf. So those Klingons are always bluffing, those rascals. They just...
It's a game of bluff. They love it. They love playing the whole gamesmanship of, not letting your opponent know what you're thinking. I think that's part of their gamesmanship. But yeah, I thought that who was this new woman that was at the helm next to Data too? Did you pay attention to her in the beginning?
Yeah, she had like one line, and I wrote it down because I was like, "Whoa, she got a line!" I'm always happy for somebody that gets like one line. Because I'm like, is that somebody that we need to pay attention to? Is it? I don't know if we ever see her again. We'll have to look that up. She says, here's her quote: "Course laid in, Captain." I bet she practiced that all night the night before. I would have. I've been like, I got 4 lines. I am not going to. Can you imagine? Everybody, they say this line, and she's like, "Course, look, shoot, do it again." They'd be like, "Seriously, seriously." But yeah, I don't know. We could check to see if she's ever back. But that's the first I remember seeing her.
Well, it's funny because they sprinkle us with these characters. The Latina character that was with Geordi a couple episodes back. What was her name? Selena. She was an engineer.
Selena Gomez, or not Selena Gomez. Sonia Gomez.
Sonia
Gomez. Yes.
So we see these characters pop up like Sonia Gomez, and you're expecting to see more of them because they get lines, and then you're like, no, I guess not.
So this lady, the character's name was Ensign Clancy, maybe named after Tom Clancy. I think that'd be a good guess with Star Trek fans that are writing this. Oh, she got 2 episodes. What is the other one? Okay, so we have already seen her. Season 2, Episode 3, Elementary Dear Data. She played Ensign Clancy in that one as well. She's got quite the extensive IMDb page. She's done a lot of stuff, but those are the only 2 episodes in any Star Trek. She also did some pretty cool things in Seinfeld. Everybody can go check her out. Her name is Anne Ramsey. Anne Ramsey. Oh, wait. Oh, she was also in A League of Their Own. That is pretty awesome. Oh, yeah. It looks like she was the lady that had like this gigantic bruise on her hip in that movie. Great movie. Great movie. From Sliding, I think it was. Anyway.
Very uninteresting that they would, 17 episodes later, bring her back. Like, she was in the third episode of this season.
Yeah.
And we're on the 20th episode. So, like, 17 episodes later, they're like, hey, we have this line that somebody has to say. What about that Ensign Clancy lady? Like, that's strange to me, right?
They're like, course laid in, Captain. There's only one person that can give me Clancy. We need Clancy.
Yeah.
But, sir, that was 4 months ago. I don't care. Track her down. We need Clancy. Ensign Clancy must come back for this line, and then never again.
What about Sonia Gomez? Now we've had enough of Sonia. Bring Clancy back.
What about Dr. Salar? Susie Plaxen can't do two roles? Can't she?
Yeah. So, yeah, those are some of the interesting things that kind of pop out to me when I'm watching these episodes. Like, how does this random woman get these lines, and then you never see her again? You probably not see her again after this point. And it's funny because you think when you're booking a job as an actor and, they're like, hey, the people over at Star Trek really liked you and they're calling you back. You're like, oh, wow. Okay. So they're going to probably use me a lot more often now because, I've just gotten a call back. My agent says they liked me and they want me to play the same character or maybe even a different character. So you're thinking, oh, I'm going to get some work. And then they're like, no, just that other, just these two times.
I'm also looking up, there's this guy that is like in every episode, apparently, of the first 3 seasons of The Next Generation. And he goes by the character of Youngblood, Ensign Youngblood. And the actor's name is James G. Becker. So he's in this episode and like 39 others. Jeez. James G. Becker, Youngblood. So check him out. Wow.
Yeah, you got to pull that picture up. I got to see that guy. What does he look like? You've been seeing him all this whole time? He's been in around?
I don't, to be honest, I mean, if he's in 40 episodes, I don't even really recognize him, but here he is. Pull him up. There he is. That's Ensign Youngblood. I feel like I remember him. He did something in the first season, maybe with Worf. I think there was something going on with him and Worf or him and the Traveler or something in the first season. Because I remember looking him up once before, actually. There he is hiding in the corner.
Yeah, I've never seen that dude.
We've seen him like 30 times.
Not once did I see him. Must be a lower decks guy.
Speaking of which, everybody, we've got to hop to our break in just a moment here. But we also want to tell you that if you are enjoying our podcast, listening in on The Seventh Rule, wherever you listen to podcasts, you will also love The Seventh Rule 2, wherever podcasts are found, because that's where we review Lower Decks, Strange New Worlds, Discovery, Picard, Prodigy, all the new Star Trek. The Seventh Rule 2, that's the seventh rule, and the number 2, wherever podcasts are found. So definitely check that out, subscribe to that, and give us a 5-star rating. All right, let's jump to that break real quick, because there's a lot more to talk about with Kalar and how I think she kind of paved the way for a Voyager character. A lot of people might know what I'm talking about, but we'll be right back on The Seventh Rule.